Okay, I think we can start. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Those who are joining here in person and those who are joining us online, welcome to École des Ponts Business School. My name is Saman. I'm the Vice Dean of École des Ponts Business School of École Nationale des Ponts et Chaussées. École des Ponts Business School has a very interesting story that started about 40 years ago by a lady called Celia Russo at the heart of the engineering school of École Nationale des Ponts et Chaussées, now with 280 years old of existence. And at the time, it was, of course, an engineering, male-dominated environment that École des Ponts Business School was founded by Lady Celia Russo. And then today, we are proud to continue the work that she started almost 40 years ago in business to make a better world. So today, we are here for a very interesting story that started with this story and now is continuing to crafting and connecting, bridging cultures and businesses, governments, private sector, innovators, and investors together. So today we are here for the launch of our programs that we are co-developing with the Prime Minister's Office of the United Arab Emirates and the government accelerators between RETEC Center and the GA. So it's such a pleasure to have today with us the delegation from the Prime Minister's Office, from the government accelerators, Dr. Radi Al-Hashemi, the Executive Director, with us today to start the session. So before we start the session and tell you more about the programs and having the panel conversation, I would like to invite Monsieur Gilles Robin, who is the Deputy Director of École Nationale des Ponts et Chaussées, who has given us the honor of joining us here to welcome this session, to welcome our dear partners from the UAE, and also to open the session. Monsieur Gilles Robin, thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gilles Robin, and I am Deputy Director of École Nationale des Ponts et Chaussées. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to Paris and to École des Ponts for this important occasion. I would particularly like to welcome the delegation representing the Prime Minister's Office of the United Arab Emirates and the UAE government accelerators. Dr. Radia Al-Hashmi, Executive Director of the Government Accelerators centered at the Prime Minister's Office, we are very pleased and honored to have you with us today. We are delighted to see this collaboration taking shape. It brings together institutions with a shared ambition to connect academic excellence, innovation, executive education, and public sector transformation in ways that can generate concrete and lasting impact. École Nationale des Ponts et Chaussées was founded in 1747. It is one of France's historic grandes écoles and one of the world's oldest institutions dedicated to engineering education. Throughout its history, the school has contributed to the development of infrastructure, engineering, public action, science, and innovation in France and internationally. Its mission has continuously evolved to address the major transformations facing economies and societies while maintaining a strong commitment to academic rigor, research excellence, and service to the public interest. Since July 2024, École Nationale des Ponts et Chaussées has also been a member of Institut Polytechnique de Paris. We are now part of an academic and scientific community bringing together 6 prestigious French engineering schools: École Polytechnique, ENSTA, ENSAE Paris, Télécom Sud Paris, and École Nationale des Ponts et Chaussées. This reinforces our capacity to advance multidisciplinary research and education across engineering, science, technology, management, and public policy. Within this broader institutional ecosystem, École des Ponts Business School has been developing executives and supporting organizations in their transformation since 1987. The business school combines the academic standards and institutional heritage of École des Ponts with an international and practice-oriented approach to executive education. It brings together professors, researchers, executives, entrepreneurs, innovators, and decision makers from different sectors and regions of the world. Our ReTech Center is an important part of this ambition. It provides a platform through which research, innovation, skill development, and institutional engagement can be brought together around a digital and responsible transformation of businesses, markets, governments, and societies. The partnership with the UAE government accelerators is therefore particularly meaningful. It brings together the expertise of the Prime Minister's Office of the UAE in government acceleration and public sector transformation, the distinctive methodologies developed by the UAE government accelerators, and the academic, managerial, technological, and research capabilities of École des Ponts Business School and our ReTech Center. This combination is at the heart of the uniqueness of the two programs being launched today. The Specialized Executive MBA and Specialized Executive DBA in Government Acceleration integrate the UAE Government Accelerators methodologies, practical experience, case studies, and institutional knowledge with advanced learning in management, technology, responsible transformation, leadership governance, and applied research. Through these programs, senior leaders will be able to develop new capabilities, engage with proven government accelerations methodologies, examine international practices, and contribute to research and innovation in government transformation. The programs are supported by a broader community of ReTech fellows, professors, faculty members, experts, practitioners, and institutional partners. Together, they will connect academic knowledge and research with the realities of government, industry, technology, and society. The scope of this collaboration, therefore, goes beyond the delivery of two academic programs. It creates opportunities for executive learning, applied research, institutional experimentation, international exchange, and the development of new approaches to government innovation and public value creation. In my capacity as Deputy Director of École Nationale des Ponts et Chaussées, I would also like to recognize the leadership of Professor Alan Rosen, Dean of École des Ponts Business School, in advancing the school's academic and international development. I would equally like to acknowledge the valuable work and achievements of Professor Saman Sarbasvatan, Vice Dean of École des Ponts Business School and founding director of our ReTech Center, whose commitment has been instrumental in developing this partnership and bringing the different academic, institutional, and expert communities together. My recognition also goes to our ReTech Center team, the ReTech Fellows, our faculty, professors, experts, and all those who have contributed to making today's launch possible. To our colleagues from the Prime Minister's Office of the United Arab Emirates and the UAE Government Accelerators, I would like to reaffirm the commitment of École Nationale des Ponts et Chaussées to supporting a meaningful, ambitious, and highly impactful collaboration. The strong track record of École des Ponts Business School in international executive education, combined with the experience, methodologies, and institutional leadership of the UAE government accelerators, provides a solid foundation for what we can achieve together. Finally, I would like to recognize and congratulate Dr. Radeya Halashmi for her leadership and commitment to advancing government acceleration and the responsible integration of cutting-edge technologies into public sector transformation. Today's launch marks what is, to the best of our knowledge, the world's first integrated portfolio comprising a specialized executive MBA and a specialized executive DBA specially dedicated to government acceleration. It is further distinguished by the integration of the UAE government accelerators methodologies, experience, and institutional expertise into executive management education and practice-oriented doctoral research. This is an important achievement for Dr. Radeya Al-Hashmi for the UAE Government Accelerators, École des Ponts Business School, and our RETEC Center. More importantly, it represents a shared commitment to developing the leadership, research, methodologies, and responsible technological capabilities required to accelerate government transformation and create greater public value. We are honored to welcome you, and we look forward to building the next stage of this collaboration together. Thank you, and once again, welcome to École des Ponts.
Thank you very much, Monsieur Gilles Robin. Now, please allow me to welcome Professor Dean Alain Rosen to join the stage for the welcome address. Thank you.
Thank you, Saman. I will try to keep the words a bit shorter since we have an interesting panel and we'll get a chance to go a little bit deeper into the discussion. One, I'd like to thank our partners for traveling to be here today. Thank you so much. It's really appreciated. It's a sign of the partnership, of your dedication, your investment, time, money, effort, resources, people, and that is really important. Just like any of our programs, I would say it's the people-to-people connection, which is the first brick in building something bigger. And this is a really good example of that. Thank you so much. As you heard from Gilles Robin, the École des Ponts, or ENPC, is a very venerable institution. No other engineering schools on the planet can say they have a 280-year track record of academic excellence. And so as the business school of that kind of a school, the bar that we have to clear is very high. Usually what we like to say is that the ENPC prepares engineers for society. And our role is to prepare leaders and managers for the challenges of society. And today, as a society, maybe the global village that we are today, those challenges are real. There are short-term challenges, medium and long-term challenges, and we can only do that if we work together to solve these problems, and people are empowered with the proper skills to think about those, and to act on that, and do that in an efficient manner. Maybe you don't know, but our school has a double tutelage. We're both under the Ministry of Higher Education and the Ministry of the Ecological Transition. And as such, we have an extra, I'd say, constraint, but also an extra mission, which is to make sure that we're doing the right things for our planet in terms of making a positive impact. I get that kind of ethos of being in business to make a better world, which has been our slogan since 1987, and Celia Russo, who founded the school, that was her initial idea of what a business school can be, in business to make a better world, training people who are there to make a positive impact. We try to encourage different forms of enlightened capitalism, I would say, and thoughtful leadership. That kind of goes through the different efforts, the programs that we do design and develop along those lines. Like this program, I would say we have we've taken an approach of responsible innovation and trying to make use of technology responsibly. I think technology can be magic, magical, and we see the potential, but only if we use it responsibly. And the RETEC Center, Responsible Technology Center, has that ethos baked in, and that is kind of what we're trying to do, is not just to empower and train leaders in the responsible use of technology, but also different ways of using innovation responsibly in order to create the future that we all desire. So kind of being the change that we want to see in the world and leading that change. In terms of the specialized executive MBAs and DBAs that this program offers, our school has been lucky enough and fortunate enough to be running MBAs around the world since our inception. We have had programs in Argentina, India, Scotland, United States, actually Abu Dhabi University as well, Tokyo in Japan, Shanghai and Beijing in China for the last 30 years, and in Morocco as well, among other countries and regions. And it's been a real privilege, I think that's part of what we're doing. Part of the attraction, I think, of this program is that many, many participants from around the world are coming to take part in this. It's not just a French program, it's not an Emirate program, it's really a global program. And that is also something that is quite unique that I'm not sure we would find elsewhere. We have something like 8,000 alumni from the business school with the École des Ponts, another 20,000, 30,000 engineers as well. And these people are filling very senior roles in both public and private institutions. And we have a lot of people today working in kind of, I would say, the meta institutions, UN, UNESCO, OECD, right here in Paris, as well as others, UNEF and UNESI, who are also part of our dynamic in our constituencies. And so this Government Accelerator Program is of a lot of direct interest to many of our alumni, graduates, partners, and constituents. And I think more broadly, I can say that we're really proud to be working on something like this. Together with the team, we recently worked at an offsite on our values as a school. And we revisited the slogan, "In business to make a better world." What are the KPIs that we're using to measure better? What does better mean? And part of that was impact. And so for me, a key KPI will be how many people can we train and empower in these government accelerator programs that will be, I guess, better prepared to lead the change that we all need, that we want to see, that we're expecting. I talked about us needing to hit a higher bar of expectations because we're part of the venerable École des Ponts. But I think that's something that all governments are feeling today. We, the citizens, want more from our governments. We want our governments to react more quickly to our demands. And there's things that we used to accept that we no longer accept. And so governments are kind of condemned to be one step ahead of their citizens in order to ensure customer satisfaction. And this notion of market fit and customer satisfaction, not sure that that's how governments think or have thought in the past. And we hope to bring that mindset to those who are participating in this program and far beyond. Kind of like throwing a pebble into a lake and watching the ripples move out. I think that's what we all are trying to do together with these programs. So once again, thank you. And I will pass the microphone back to Saman. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you very much. So now, without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Radia Al-Hashmi to join us on the stage. Thank you very much for joining us here today.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for coming today. And thank you for this welcoming, beautiful speeches. Really, I'm very honored and humbled to be here today with you all. And really, I think when we started this journey about 1.5 years with Dr. Saman, and thank you to Sarah Faghali who introduced us to Dr. Saman and to the school, I think it was that time our vision was to collaborate and really show our journey at the Government Accelerator. How can we share the experience that we've earned or we've developed throughout 10 years, almost 10 years in UAE, and how can we share this experience with the world? So it started with the first talk with Dr. Saman, and we said, okay, can we do one course, or can we do one like a guest speaker at your school? And then slowly, the idea started, okay, let us do a combined and specialized MBA program with the Government Accelerator. And then the idea now, like you see it here, and it developed up to how do we do a DBA, a doctorate program with specializing Government Accelerator. So thank you very much, Dr. Saman, for your leadership. And I think the more you are excited, the more we got excited about this program. And we're really looking forward to collaborate and to share our experience as much as possible. And really, it is not only we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, it's actually how we did it. And what did we learn throughout this 10 years journey? And how did it impact the participant? And today also we're bringing with us our colleague from Morocco that she had an experience, worked with us. We wanted to hear her perspective as a participant, as a student. How did it reflected on her? So I have a short presentation just to show our experience. What do we do at the Government Accelerator? I hope the technology is working. Dr. Saman? Yes. Okay. So I'll just share with you the journey. We started almost 10 years ago in 2016. At that time, we just launched the Vision 2020-21, and we had a list of KPIs that we wanted to achieve by 2021. At that time, there was a lot of KPI that it was hard to achieve. And the more we asked around the participant or the entity of the government why we are not reaching these KPI, thank you very much. Most of the obstacle was collaboration, bringing people together, innovating, everybody to have a vision in order for them to achieve and to go forward. So in 2026, we launched the Government Accelerator Center, which is a pioneer government initiative, part of the Prime Minister's office. Over there, we rethink how the government works. We bring multi-stakeholder to really think about result-oriented, accelerated result, break down the silos, work together in order to really reach to an innovative, transformative project. And our target was 100 days or less. And to bring 100 days or less for a government was a big, oh my God, we'll be able to do that. But after 10 years, really, we were able to do it. We were able to bring all these different governments together. A quick video just for you to see the dynamic of the place at the Government Accelerator we have there in UAE and in Dubai. You'll see here on the table when we talk about a specific issue or a specific challenge, you'll see a multi-stakeholder on the table. You'll see people from the government, like we have federal government, local government, private sector are there, like educational institute, NGO, everybody is on the table. And even the customer, we don't forget them, they are also on the table. Everybody comes together to find innovative solutions that they can solve, and then actually they can implement in 100 days or less. So over the years, we were able to really bring these different multi-stakeholder, more than 7,000 participants, really bringing them together to collaborate and work together. Sometimes it's hard for an entity to work with another entity because you need a lot of official invitation, an official letter. Over here, we broke that silo, bring everybody together, work together. We were able to find big, innovative, 120 innovative, transformative solutions for the government. So how do we do it? Simple. First, most important, collaboration. We always encourage people to collaborate. The decision-making to collaborate in order for them to find the vision. And also everybody in the team to work together. Find your ambition goal. And from day one, we say, what is your goal? What do you want to achieve in 100 days? And then, of course, we encourage the 100 days innovative solution, experimentation, try it out. After 20 days, it did not work out, no problem. Keep it on the side, try something else, and try until you crack it. So I think that feeling for a government to work on something, you can able to try it, fail, it's okay, try again, was something that everybody and the team member were encouraged to do. Also, of course, the sense of urgency, we're saying 100 days or less, it was very important for them to really achieve within 100 days or less. So simple process and simple journey. We work on design phase, acceleration phase, and sustainability phase. These three phases really combine together in order for us to achieve, or for the team to achieve. Over the years, different type of challenges came to the Government Accelerator. We started, of course, with a national agenda target that we wanted to achieve. But later on, we saw this framework and methodology works for the government service, work for the policies, work for the laws and bylaws, for any big transformational project, and any zero bureaucracy in the government, you want to reduce it, how do you work on that? So one quick example, this is a beautiful example that we worked on in 2017 of really how do you bring multi-stakeholder to crack a challenge that the customer was facing. So over here, I'm sure, I don't know what here you have in your country, but in Dubai or in UAE, when a new baby born is born, that time the husband has to go around different places to get the birth certificate, to get the passport, to get the ID of the baby. So it was a lot of visit for the parent to go and visit all these places. A lot of more than 15 documents that they had to fill it out. So when they came to the Government Accelerator, we brought all the multi-stakeholder on the table to find an easy way for them to achieve and simplify the process for the community and for the customer. Now you see here the customer, he just got a baby. Right away he goes in the waiting room, he apply on the system, and right away he just have everything. The only challenge he had is to find the name for the baby. After he find the name of the baby, everything is automated and everything is there. Within 3 days, he get a box which has birth certificate, passport, ID, everything is there in a box. So like this is a simple example, and we have a lot of different examples, but this is a simple example of really when there's a customer need and a customer feels that impact, how does the government react? How do you bring multi-stakeholder from the government to find the best solution for the customer? And like you talked about, Dr. Allen, really you see the impact, and here we really saw the impact. And now when you look at the number, we started with 8 hospitals. Now most of the hospitals in the UAE are really doing the same system. Now, after this experience, we started to do knowledge sharing with different countries with our knowledge exchange program that we have at the Prime Minister's office. So we started with Jordan and Uzbekistan to transfer the knowledge of the accelerator to their country. And everybody took the methodology and the framework and customized it in their own country. Like you see here, we did Kyrgyzstan, we did Rwanda, Jordan, and we have a list of countries that are interested to work with us. Also, on the other hand, we worked with the international organization, we worked with WHO, we worked with ICAO in Canada, and we worked with the Harvard Kennedy Business School. So like you see here, that the knowledge and the knowledge what we have at the Government Accelerator, we want to share with the different countries, we want to share with the different leaders, and we're really looking forward really to share with the participant and the student from École de Ponts Business School, inshallah, and Retech Center. So I think this quote, we have it, and we have it, a big quote in our office that it says the biggest risk is not to take any risk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Radia. So thank you for sharing as well. So the programs, as Dr. Radia shared with you, the story of becoming of this program started almost 2 years ago when Sarah, at the time, just started her executive doctorate with us. She's here with us today. She will be on the panel soon. And she's also our fellow at Retech Center. So she introduced Dr. Radia and I together, and Dr. Radia had a trip to Paris, and we had the pleasure of inviting her and having a meeting. Also, she shared the experience and a couple of use cases with our participants, our executive participants who were in the classroom as well. And then we started the conversation. We started exploring really what what do we need to do in terms of government acceleration? What is our responsibility in terms of taking the proven track record of the methodologies and the best, best solutions to address the challenges at the public sector, at the government sector, to drive innovation and to remove the unnecessary frictions that we all have in our governance systems. So for us, it was an obvious point to consider that this topic merits an executive education at the master's and doctoral degrees. So we started the work. We put together the first certification track to test and learn, and also to onboard the ecosystem and the fellows and the participants. And then after that, here we are, very proud to launch this, both of the programs, the degree programs, on the topic of government acceleration. So the executive MBA in government acceleration, specialized for those who are still in the building, who would like to contribute by building, by thinking, by connecting the dots, by understanding the problems, asking the right question. So MBA participants who join the government acceleration specialized MBA program of École des Ponts Business School, they would join the program in order to better understand the innovation ecosystem of the public sector, but also to understand how the methodologies and frameworks of strategy, competitiveness, operations, supply chain applied in the public sector would reveal innovation in different terms. But of course, most importantly, the responsible integration of technology, and that's the signature of Responsible Technology Center that we have, in order to make sure that technology is used as an enabler and as an enhancer of humans, of systems, of decision-making, of processes, but at the same time responsibly integrated, humans in the center, human in the loop, human on the loop. Different methodologies exist, but humans there. So that's why we had this conversation, and we said, okay, responsible technology for government acceleration at the executive master's degree. And then we said at the executive doctoral degree. So what would those profiles would need to understand? And this comes also by research and also looking into challenges that exist today to understand what would be the methodologies that are required to put together, to design, to test, to advance research, to address the gap between research and practice. What do we need to do in order to advance knowledge? How do we contribute to the body of knowledge and to practice by integrating the methodologies of government acceleration into the doctoral studies? Doctoral studies that are made for executives who are practice-oriented, who are executives worker professionally, not as researchers. And that is the spirit of the specialized executive DBA in government acceleration. The ecosystem is very strong. It's very unique. Of course, the professors and researchers that we have with École Nationale des Ponts et Chaussées at the Business School with Retech Center on one side, but the fellows who join us to support us in terms of mentors, in terms of professors that are also coming through the network of the GA. So that makes this program very unique. The experience that participants go through, the learning experience, the design of the learning experience is very unique. The objective is completely different. It doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. There is no other specialized executive doctorate in government acceleration in the world. There is no other specialized executive MBA in government accelerator around the world. And the reason is obvious, because it's not easy to connect these dots together. It takes not only some insight into government acceleration, who would also understand business administration and technology and the responsible integration of technology, but also it takes some courage to take the risk. And as Dr. Radia mentioned very nicely and ended her slides with that, so the biggest risk is not taking the risk. So we took the risk, and we are very confident that this risk so far has been very positively evaluated by the cohorts that we have already graduated in the first run, and now the program is officially launched to start soon. So the programs they have 3 formats. They have a fully online format for those who cannot travel for different reasons, family, business. There's a format that is fully online for courses and then provides the opportunity for participants to gather, both for MBAs and DBAs, of course, different setting, different objectives, but they gather twice a year in Paris and in Dubai to exchange, to learn from each other, to get to know each other, and to advance the projects that they're working on. The third option, which is the hybrid plus Paris flagship, is the one that participants join also our courses that are happening in Paris in person on a weekly immersive mode. So you will have all the information on the brochures that we will share at the end of the session with you. But for now, just to tell you that there's a lot that has gone into the design of this program. There's a lot of intellectual capacity, the human capital behind it, the willingness, the goodwill, the excellence, and of course, the proven track record of methodologies of the GA as well, together makes these both programs very unique. And I'm very proud for announcing the launch of these programs today, thanks to our fellows, such as Sarah, who's here, our new fellows, such as Dr. Salma also, who's here, and of course, Dr. Radi Al-Hashimi, and our leader, Professor Alan Rosen. So let us start the conversation on a panel to talk together, to explore more what is the importance of having this topic. Why do we have this conversation? Why do we give ourselves the trouble of creating new programs, justifying it to all types of boards and audit desks around the world to say, okay, this program is required? And why do we go through the trouble of publishing before the program starts, after the program is launched, and the work that we are going to advance with the executive doctoral participants and also the master's ones? So for this part, I would like to invite Dalal Al-Hayy, who would join us here from the government accelerators, and she's instrumental also in the support that she brings into the management of the program from the GA side, and also in helping us making it happen. So Dalal, thank you very much for coming. Please, thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the open day of the Specialized Executive MBA and DBA in Innovation Accelerator. It is a great pleasure to have you all here, and I'm really glad and happy to see my friends and colleagues, Sarah and Selma. We're really happy to see you here, and it is a great pleasure to be with you today to introduce the unique executive leader learning that connected Paris and United Arab Emirates, academic with practical leadership and delivery, and the most important thing is ambition with measurable impact. The Specialized Executive MBA and DBA bring together the academic excellence of École des Ponts Business School and Retech Center with the practical drive of discipline of the United Arab Emirates Government Accelerator. It's designed for senior leaders who are expected not only to understand transformational, but to lead it, accelerate it, and the result, and to focus on delivery the results that really matter. This program responds to the need of a combined government accelerator and the foresight, system thinking, innovation, responsible digital transformation, and applied leadership. Today's discussion will help us to understand the value of the program from different perspectives. So the perspective that we have is the practical perspective that came from the United Arab Emirates Government Accelerator, a practical approach to turn the priorities into measurable results. Followed with the academic strength of École des Ponts Business School, the importance of foresight and transformation for future-ready institutions, the policy and governance capabilities need to lead, and the lead in complex environment, and finally, the real participant experience. And we have one of our alumni, Selma, inshallah, will talk about the 6 months acceleration program that she went through. I'm honored to ask our guests to join me here, Professor Aloon, in the conversation. He's the Dean and CEO of École des Ponts Business School. Dr. Radi Al-Hashimi, the Executive Director of the United Arab Emirates Government Accelerator. Professor Saman, he's the Vice Dean and CEO of École des Ponts Business School and Founding Director of Retech Center. We have Sarah Faghali, the Chief Innovation Officer, and Selma Karim, Head of Human Capital and Innovation Department, Digital Development Agency in Morocco. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here today, and we will ask some questions for the participant, and I'll start with the Professor alone. So École des Ponts Business School has a strong legacy of academic excellence and applied leadership. How does this program, which is the specialized MBA and DBA in government acceleration, build on that legacy to prepare leaders who can create values not only for their organization but also for the society?
Thank you for the question, Dalal. So, as we heard recently, École des Ponts was founded 280 years ago. And the idea was to train engineers who would actually, literally, build France. So we're talking about the roads, the bridges, the infrastructure, the institutions, governments, municipal and national, and businesses big and small. So we're the business school of that institution. And our mission is the same. We're basically translating that to today, trying to train leaders who can lead society. No longer with concrete and steel, but with strategy, technology, I'd say innovation mindset, and human judgment. And so I think that's the main part. We talked earlier about being in business to make a better world, and here in this context, we're talking about basically governments, I would say, that are truly responsive to their constituencies. How can we use technology not as an end in itself, but to fluidify the relationship between the state and its citizen, create trust, inclusion, and simplicity, where maybe there is sometimes friction, opacity, or some different forms of exclusion. I think every person in the room here has probably experienced some kind of bureaucratic complexity as a citizen, and I think we all know what better looks like. The question is how to do it. And so that's what we're trying to do here, kind of like saying that the same principles that apply to lean innovation for the private sector can also be applied for the public sector, starting with problems worth solving. I think that's a key one. Talk to the people who have the problem, and design iteratively with the users, not just for the users. We need to ensure, and that's part of it, is understanding that viability is a big part of government initiatives. I think today budget sensitivity is such that we have to know that financial viability, but also the operational, the technical, the human has to be there too. And that includes the upskilling of the people who could be running these programs. And ultimately, I think just like any startup, today every government initiative needs to find product market fit. And the market is probably the citizen. And that can be residents as well. So beyond just citizenship. And the product today is probably like public value and trust. I think those are, that's the big one. And we're trying to kind of promote, I think, a new class of public manager that's really empowered to act as an entrepreneur, and an entrepreneur that's trying to create lasting value for the citizens. And maybe just like the last part of like why this partnership is so important with the Prime Minister's office, especially for me, what I really like about this is it's not theoretical. It doesn't feel like, and we've been asked to do these things in the past, is like some governments want to tick a box that says people were trained. And this is not that at all. It's really, we're talking about, let's bring in the academic rigor for sure, but let's also bring in real government delivery, I'd say delivery and experience, and the bias for action. And so I love the 100 days, the sense of urgency, all of the things that you've put into your presentation on the accelerators. I think that's what we need. We're not trying to train people to think about public sector innovation from a distance and not in theory. We're training them to actually do it, to work inside the system, with the system, for the citizens, and give the citizens the system that they deserve.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Professor. It's like we're building a foundation that can suit everyone, the private, the government, the people, the society. It's kind of like add an impact, and that's what we really focus on. That will take me actually to Dr. Radia from the government, from the UAE Government Accelerator perspective. How does this specialized executive MBA and DBA help leaders move from strategy and ambitions into a measurable results through the 100-day?
Thank you very much, Dalal. And thank you very much, Dr. Alan. I think really thinking about how do you add a practical into a theoretical, it was not easy, and Dr. Saman here is witnessing that. But I think when we looked at, especially at the Government Accelerator, we always start, and most of the government and the private sector, they start with a great vision. They put a lot of strategies, of 5-year strategy, 7-year strategy, 3-year strategy. Where they find the challenge is implementing and reaching to that vision. They have a very ambitious vision. So what we've done in the accelerator, we say, okay, let us start with the bigger vision. Where you want to reach, how you're going to reach it, keep it on us. We will support you to reach that. But before you take that big, you feel it's a lot of things that you need to do, let's sit together, break it down into a smaller aspect. So here at the Government Accelerator, we think about taking the vision, and we always tell them, we start with big vision, funnel it down, until you find a project that you can do a lot of these sprint of 100 days until you achieve it. I think that one is a little bit, it made everybody think and rethink about the mindset that they had before, not to get overwhelmed with the vision. The other thing that also Government Accelerator we work on, the framework that we have is really bringing, like I said, multi-stakeholder on the same table. Sometimes when you say do a stakeholder mapping for your problem, sometimes they've put like 25 participants we want or stakeholder we want. When we go and we dig, we say no, we just need important 4. If you get the lobby and an okay from these 4, everybody else will follow. So there are a different way of thinking. So it's not only a methodology, do 1 and 2 and 3, it's a mindset, thinking differently, look at it, change your glasses, look at it in a different angle. And this way, I think the uniqueness of Government Accelerator will add into the theoretical. Definitely 100% theoretical is important. I've studied theoretical in my PhD, but still, when I did my dissertation, it has to be practical. So we want to bring that arm of practicality into the theoretical part that, inshallah, we're going to get from École des Ponts Business School and the Tech Center, to bring that angle of, you hear this, you hear the benchmark, you hear other people are doing, you see what the competitiveness other countries are doing, but how they did it. Hopefully we'll be able to take that theoretical into a practical together in this partnership. So that's what we want to add that value.
Thank you so much, Dr. Radia. It's like you're telling us theory is the basics, but we need to practice it to know if it's success or not. And even if we fail in one of them, it's fine, because that will give us the information and the data we need to improve the next step that we are going to go to it, inshallah. Professor Saman, so from the academic perspective, how does this program transfer government's acceleration from practical methodologies into a structured executive learning model that develop critical thinking, system understanding, foresight, and research-informed leadership?
Thank you very much, Dalal, for the question. So I guess to complement what Alan and Dr. Radi also mentioned, giving it a bit of dimension, if I may, we are living in a situation that the changes are exponentially rising at all fronts. And at École des Ponts Business School, we are very strong with the private sector, with the entrepreneurs. The complementarity of having the GA with us, the government accelerators of the Prime Minister's Office of the UAE, really changes this game and the dynamics. Why? Because the dimensions that we are witnessing, the exponential changes that are coming, the convergence of technologies with industries, with infrastructures, with markets, with societies, of course, with the government policies and governance by itself, it really requires a new way of thinking, a new mindset. And that mindset is what exactly Dr. Radia just mentioned, what we captured. So Dr. Radia is the brilliant person behind. I just found the gold that she shared, and I saw the gap in executive master's and degree programs. And that is exactly what we are doing. We are complementing each other in this picture from the sense that we both understand, both institutions, we understand that the exponential futures of governance are completely different than what we are used to. So in theory, we have read about them in complex system, how things work, but in practice, as you mentioned, it's very different. So I think the foresight that our participants gain in both MBA and DBA programs regarding the understanding how technologies are changing the way that we can decide and act and integrate new strategies into action, I think that is the most important element. So this foresight into the emerging futures of governance is really the spirit of this program.
Amazing, amazing, Professor. And I think the Government Accelerator now represent the governments, and we're now with the private and entrepreneurs, and that's really amazing. That will take me to a question to Sarah, and talking about the mindset that also Professor Saman mentioned it. What type of a mindset and capabilities do leaders need today to lead across complexity, stakeholders, and fast-changing nation priorities?
Thank you, Dalal, and thank you, everyone. As I was listening to you, I was looking at my notes. I'm like, did they steal my notes, or what did happen? I'd like to start with a quote from Madeleine Albright, a former Secretary of State of the US. And in 2013, she said, "We're taking 21st century challenges, evaluating them with 20th century's ideas, and responding with 19th century tools." And I think that this is exactly why a specialized E-MBA in government acceleration and E-DBA in government acceleration is really timely. So what we're facing as challenges today as governments are really faster. They're much more complex and much more interconnected than ever. They cross across institutions, sectors, communities, time horizons. And yet, many public sector institutions are still rigid. They're still stuck with the old processes, the mindsets that are designed for a different era. And that's really also central to the doctoral research that I'm doing here at École des Ponts Business School, examining how public sector institutions are able to move forward to harness this collective intelligence and deliver this value that goes way beyond GDP that we have been stuck with for the past few years. So the 4 mindset shifts that I would suggest are, first of all, a systemic mindset, a systems mindset. We can no longer look at government in silos. It can no longer be just a minister of education or a minister of health or a minister of ecology working in silo. We have to work together. And a leader's role in public sector today is to connect those dots. The second one, I think, is a learning mindset as well. Today, we need to learn more than ever to be resilient. We need to listen. We need to learn fast. We need to test assumptions, we need to adapt, and that also where the methodology of the accelerators helps. And the learning mindset requires humility, and that is something that it would be quite nice to see with public sector institutions and leaders. Third one is a collaborative mindset, working together, building the right ecosystems. And finally, to resonate with what Professor Alon was saying, is the citizen-centric mindset. And one thing that I've seen, that I haven't seen in a lot of places, but I've seen in the UAE, is that this citizen-centric mindset is central. And there's a lot to learn from there. My last article is about that. And I think that this is a sort of insight of feedback that we really need to tap into. So these are the 4 mindsets. Thank you, Dalal.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I like the way that you put them together. It's like completing, actually. It's each and every one is kind of an ecosystem that is really connected, and that really hit the expectation of people, because every day we have different expectation. Selma, our dear alumni, so as someone who completed the 6 months government acceleration journey, what was the most valuable part of the experience for you, and how did it change the way you approach leadership, collaboration, and delivery?
Thank you, Ms. Dalal, for the question. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to thank the government accelerators of the UAE in the person of Dr. Radia and Ms. Dalal for their continuous support. I'd like to thank École des Ponts Business School, Retech Center, Dr. Alan, Dr. Saman for your continuous support, and of course, my dear Ms. Sarah for all the work she's been conducting with us as well throughout the 6-month certification. It's been a great journey, 6-month journey. We were multiple nationalities. It was very diverse, very inclusive. And I was in the certification thinking that I will acquire knowledge and learn a bunch of methodology and tools, but it was more than that. It was a mindset shift, because after 18 years in different public institutions in Morocco, we start becoming very efficient in project management and delivering products and services. But the certification raised my awareness about what kind of services we are providing to the citizens. Are they fitting their expectations? So this was a particular way to think about my job that I didn't do before. So being a leader in the public sector takes also answering questions, federating people. And for me, government acceleration, it's not about speed. It's not speeding up things, but it is eliminating obstacles and making the ideas work better and making ideas come to fruition. And for that, we need to have the intelligence to gather the right people and give them trust and a safe space in order to create and deliver new services that are more suitable with the citizen. And for me, it was a revelation thanks to this track. And this is mainly, if I would talk about the knowledge and the tools, yes, we acquire knowledge, we acquire the tools, but we have that click in order to change things, and we become thanks to the government acceleration methodology, an agent of change. And this is a big thing because we need those people around in the public sector.
Thank you, Salman. You really inspire me in putting something together that, yes, we ask people to accelerate to speed, but at the same time to slow down when they find the right solution for their challenges. Now there is a question that will be between two of my guests here. So the first question will go to Professor Aloun and Dr. Radia. This program is built on the partnership between the academic depth and the practical government delivery. How do you see these two dimensions reinforce one another? So I'll start with Professor Aloun first, and then we'll go to Dr. Radia.
All right. So first of all, I wanted to clarify that, I think the real power of this program isn't that we combine academic depth with practitioner experience as if they're like the two opposites on the spectrum. We have something that's, I would say, kind of like a third way. And I think it's really important, and I'll explain why in a second, but it's facilitators, not faculty, who are leading these sessions. And why is that so important? I mean, to have facilitators who have generally grounded their practice in theory. I'd say Dr. Radia is a very good example of that. She spoke to it earlier. People who can easily move between advanced frameworks and then real-world issues and real-world delivery, and the specific situational dynamics of each government context. Because I think we're all very clear, every country, every ministry, every department used to be siloed, hopefully won't be, but they have their own unique constellation of assets and constraints. And what is special here, and we already saw this, I think Salma was actually one of the big instigators there, in the program, is that the curriculum is actually partly emergent. There's one thing on paper, and then there's the reality of each session. A lot of the valuable content in each session comes from the participants. It's not coming from us. It comes from the participants themselves. We're talking about real projects and real challenges, real case studies that are being brought into the room. And that's actually the learning material is from each person's unique perspective and experience. And here, I'd say the facilitator's role is to be kind of this bridge and help I guess it's like a community of learning or a learning community, or, but helping them to upskill in real time and using a context which is both timely and relevant to everybody. They're like, this is what we are doing here now. And like, oh my God, we're doing something very similar. And so, you know, those kind of dynamics, the cohort isn't a delivery mechanism or isn't something like that we download knowledge from faculty to the cohort. The cohort is actually the core asset. And that makes it really rich because the participants learn as much from each other's constraints than from many frameworks that we could teach. And so basically kind of when you think about it, I guess this is something that Saman and I have talked about a bit, like we're trying to create like a competence stack or capability stack among these participants of like doing like see, think, and act. Like see what's possible, see what's happening elsewhere, see what technologies can actually do today, think, and that was something that, you know, Saman and others mentioned, like this connecting the dots between innovation, management, technology, and leadership. And so that's the thinking part, but it's really important to be exposed to that in order to connect them. And the last one is the act, and that we've seen in the government accelerators. It's like, how do you design experiments as a public actor that are safe enough to try, compelling enough to fund, and simple enough to explain? And that's not an easy thing to do, and very different than a startup in the private sector. And so I think at the end of the day, what we're really giving is participants this ability to connect the dots that most people in, I'd say, classic government kind of offices have a difficult time connecting. And this whole notion of connecting innovation with innovation management, technical possibility, which is a big one today. I think we understand that a lot of things are possible, but how do we deploy things responsibly? That's kind of the trillion-dollar question. And understanding what's being done elsewhere so that we can understand what could work here. I think, and that's already, if we can do that, it's a big achievement.
Amazing, amazing. Dr. Aradi, if you would like to add?
Thank you very much. I think that's a beautiful insight. And I think just to add to your point, yes, definitely the academic depth is very important. But the practicality also, it's equally important and it cannot be separated. So even when at the Government Accelerator, when we start for them to identify a challenge, we make sure that they have done the research. They went around, they see, is it a real challenge? What is the root cause of this challenge? What is other countries, they went through the same problem before? So that theoretical, I think you guys are going to cover it beautifully because really it's going to give them that theoretical and the educational background that is necessary for them to go step 2. When they come to step 2 is here, they want to answer how I'm going to do it. And what do I need to do now in order for me later on to achieve it? So that is where we're going to come and answer that question. Let's work together, put what you want to do, innovate some idea. So I think these two concepts, really, they work together nicely, the academic background, the practicality in it. And like you said, Dr. Allen, really, in even the Government Accelerator part, when we did the cohort and we did the trial cohort, we really tried to bring the experience of the people, of the user, the people who really went through our program, the people who really tried it. It's not, I'm not talking about my challenge and my topic and my project. No, I'm talking about Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Education. Somebody who really tried it. They went through the 100 days. What was their experience? What did it change their mindset? What did they change for the people around them? How did it really improve? So I think, like you said, the combination, theoretical, practical, not only what you want to do, but actually a real case study in the Government Accelerator that we tried it out. It really gives them a lot of insight, and Selma talked about it. It's a lot of insight, and we are very happy to share that insight because really we want to share this knowledge, not only do this tool and do this tool. It's actually when X and Y tried the tool, they got amazing results. It might be the same tool, but each person had a different result than the other. And really we are trying through this program to the MBA and the DBAs, really for them to experience that change in the knowledge and really get this knowledge and hopefully reflect it in their own organization.
It's like creating a journey for our participant to mix the both academic, I cannot say it academic, but theoretical and practical together, and share their experience, the real experience that they went through, and see the real impact at the end of the program. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Professor Aloun and Dr. Aradia. Coming back to you, Dr. Aradia, but with Professor Saman. So how can leaders maintain the urgency to deliver results while also building the foresight needed to prepare their institutions for the future? I'll start with the Professor Saman, and then we'll come back to you.
Sure, thank you. So urgency and foresight, I think they are complementary to each other. So if we act with urgency without foresight, we lose relevance. So urgency by itself is a reactive sort of calling process that we just follow the instinct, we would react in urgency, and then the results would not be relevant, most probably in the exponential future specifically. So that's why foresight and urgency, they need to work together. Then I think foresight needs to be institutionalized as well. So embodying foresight into the organizational culture and organizational intelligence is a skill that we will need increasingly so as moving forward. So far we don't have that, unfortunately, in most organizations, whether public or private, except if they are foresight institutions. But institutionalized foresight, I think at the heart of the institution, whether public or private, can change this dynamic. And the last one, I think, would be about accountability of foresight. Accountability on foresight versus accountability on execution. So those must be divided very clearly, that if as an executive today, I can have foresight on what might appear, the level of this accountability on having this foresight must not be and cannot be the same level of accountability that I have regarding doing my job now today correctly. So having a foresight is not necessarily directing to the execution responsibilities of the employees or the decision makers or the leaders. So I think if we can bring these dimensions together and separating accountability on foresight and execution, institutionalizing foresight, and also understanding foresight for urgency, for relevance, I think we should be fine.
Thank you, Professor. Dr. Aradia?
Thank you, Professor. I think that to add to that point, yes, definitely, they need to come side by side. And I feel it's like more a cycle. Like you have an urgency to do something, you'll do it, but at the same time, your mind is also thinking the foresight, what I'm going to do next. So in the cohort in UAE, when we do the Government Accelerator, okay, we work so much on the launch of the cohort. After it launched, day 2, I talk with the team, so what's next? So I think right away you need to have that cycle. It's very important to talk about the foresight of that project. You work on something, you deliver it, but at the same time, the foresight can make you change, not to change the project itself, but change the direction, change the focus area. Sometimes the focus area, whatever the information you had before, made you directed to a certain path. Later on, you will change the path because this new insight came to you. Like you've seen the last couple of months, a lot of changes happen around the world. And all these new small changes, politically or even economically, you need to be agile enough to change. This continuous feed of the insight and what's happening is really important for you to have your best result ever. At the Government Accelerator, when we do the methodology and they work with us 100 days, like I said, it's not a rigid methodology you have to implement and you cannot change whatever the plan you've put day 1. No, we say always you can change, always you can experiment, always you can try it out. And also we encourage the participant, we broke the 100 days into 20/80. 20 days, the first 20 days, they just work on insight, strategic direction, what they want to work for this challenge. The bigger picture, they need to think about it. From the bigger picture, they see what from this bigger picture I can implement in 80 days, and I can see a result on the ground and effect on the community. So I think that way of thinking, it really forces them to put the inside part of their implementation strategy.
Thank you, Dr. Radia. And that's really also a part of the sustainability and scalability will force actually the people after they finish the 100 days to build what they want to do, to scale it up or to do something totally different, like the example that Dr. Radia provided about the new bundle package. Before, the only challenge that Dr. mentioned that to put the name, but now it's more advanced. After they put everything, they get a very beautiful box with the beautiful gift from the president of the UAE, said congrats, and with a small gift for the baby of the second day immediately. Before it's take 3 days, but now it's just immediately. The second day you can get less than 24 hours, which is amazing. Now we'll go to the two beautiful ladies here. So we have our questions here for you. For the two different perspectives, governance and personal leadership development, what enablers learning to transfer into a real challenge within the institution? I'll start with Sarah and then with you, Salma.
And thank you as well for the introduction to this. I think the bridge between learning and real institutional change is practice. And people won't transform institutions just by attending trainings or courses. They will transform them when learning is really anchored in a real challenge with real stakeholders, with real constraints, with real life consequences. And this is why this type of project-based learning is super powerful, especially when it comes to government acceleration. It really moves learning from theory into action. And that's this gap, this bridge that we're missing. We're not only discussing the governance, the foresight, the delivery, and the leadership in the abstract. We're testing them, we're applying them, and if it doesn't work, we're changing. So nothing is really developed in a vacuum in this case. So from a governance perspective, this matters a lot, because this real change, it is aligned with institutional priorities, and it's always tested as well. From a leadership perspective, it also changes participants. When you lead and you work on real projects, you feel this uncertainty, you feel the ambiguity, you feel the agency, and you feel the accountability as well. And from another perspective, to bring back to the programs, the research element is equally important, because it also feeds into how am I resolving these problems. So it's really, like, to summarize it, I would say, what enables learning to transform into real change? A real problem, a real project, a real institutional mandate, a research-grounded method. Hopefully we're going to get that with the accelerator methodologies. And once again, I will repeat that, leaders who are humble and willing to listen and learn.
Thank you so much, and that's really beautiful, because learning by doing is something really important, fed by the data and the information that you've mentioned. That's really give that beautiful kind of a method that everyone can succeed in the future. Thank you so much. Let's take give the mic to you, Salma.
Thank you. I'll be adding to what Sarah stated, is that the 6-month government acceleration journey has been a great laboratory for us. It's been a collective intelligence at scale with international people from around the world, multiple sectors. So everyone adopted the tools, reorganized the way they worked with the tools, and had result at the end of the 100-day challenge. It is also an innovative way to tackle a public innovation and the role of the leader of the public sector. We are leaders of the future, so we need new tools in order to accelerate and get things done and propose probably new solutions for problems that we have on an everyday basis. And with that, the knowledge transfer was very smooth. And we became sponsors in our institutions as well. As we adopted the methodology, we amplified, and we tried to duplicate the model and the system in our local scale. So this is a great way to be, as I said, an agent of change and be part of an international movement that is promoting government acceleration and public innovation in a very mindful way, and becoming a community that is willing to collaborate, willing to listen to each other and benefit from the best practices and be in an open laboratory. It's the rich aspect of this certification as well.
That's amazing, Selma. We're really proud of our graduates, with our people who really adopt the government accelerator methods. They are our ambassador, actually, and they are creating that kind of a move around the world. Like as Dr. Radia mentioned, that even with the countries and international organizations that we shared with them our methodologies, they've been our ambassadors and just representing and taking that knowledge and share it with everyone. And that's really amazing. That will take me to the last questions, where actually we discuss acceleration, foresight, governance, leadership, and all this. But there is one question that I would like to ask everyone here. It's about the AI. Where does AI fit in all of this, and how should the leaders use it in particular way to accelerate decision, improve services, and deliver better outcomes without you losing the human elements in that? So whoever would like to answer, that's really will be great. Let's start with the Professor Alun. Oh, yeah. I'm okay.
Well, with your permission, Dr. So one, this is a question I've been thinking about a lot, obviously, not just for the public sector, but I'd say, the question is not where we can use AI or where does it fit, because it can fit anywhere. The question is, what do we protect? So I recently did a post on Substack on this, and something I called the thinking OS, so OS operating system in your own thinking operating. It's like the cognitive architecture that makes human judgment irreplaceable, and how do we protect it? Because we have to protect it. And so I would say kind of the risk for government leaders and all the way down is something that I called like the boiling frog quadrant of use of AI, which is, everybody knows the metaphor of the pot of boiling frogs. The heat goes up, and at some point, the frogs are cooked. There's something very similar here, that if we let AI do more and more of our thinking for us, we become less and less capable of thinking for ourselves without noticing it. And that's something that is not just an intellectual problem. If you put that at the government level, it becomes kind of a governance and accountability crisis that's like waiting to happen. And so, not good. The other thing that I see now is and I think, so I'm preparing a different post, which I call like the great AI rétropédalage. So rétropédalage in French is like backtracking. But what I see is really like, until now, we've really naively deployed AI. It's been, I don't know if you know the term token maxing, but, basically maximizing AI budgets, telling people, go out and find uses and use cases for AI. And basically, people find the uses and they find ways to spend budgets, and nobody knows who's spending what on what. Like, there's zero accountability. Today, I think Sarah spoke about the 4 mindsets and, the innovation mindset. The innovation mindset on its own is not enough. Innovation needs a strategy and a direction. And so when we're using AI today, I think the next layer will be going back on this just crazy, everybody should use AI and no plan, to an innovation strategy and say, okay, what we need to do with AI is rethink processes, redesign the processes for AI, with AI, and make sure that there's human in the loop. And we have to do it in a way that avoids the manager of becoming the bottleneck of AI. If everybody below the manager in the organization is using AI and just pushes it up, then the manager becomes the validator, editor-in-chief that has to verify everything, and that becomes the bottleneck in the organization when you can't trust anything that you're receiving. And I don't think any of us can deal with that pressure of just having to, read all of the documents carefully, question every data point that we see. Is this a true data point or a hallucination? And so I think we're going to see a very different deployment of AI. I think the government accelerators is a great place to do that. 100 days to design a process, to redesign a process, reimagine the processes, and not just put AI as a Band-Aid on broken processes, but to really rethink it natively in AI. That's where I see the next layer coming and where I think this is really important in the public sector.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much. Dr. Radia.
Thank you very much. I think adding to that, I think for us in the acceleration, I think it's a multiplier. It will accelerate the accelerator. So be ready. So it's not any more 100 days. It might be a 50 days that you'll be able to do everything. Because when I'm thinking about the AI adoption in the acceleration cycle, it's really going to help in all the different phases. Like I said, we have 3 main phases. The design phase, where you get the background information about the challenge, the SWOT analysis, the root cause analysis, and this one usually takes 3 weeks to 1 month. The team or the entity works on it. Now with AI, you can do it in 2 days. Just like you said, you need to just verify that information that is given to you, but it won't need that depth of research and finding all the benchmark and all that it can do for you. So it will accelerate the design phase, definitely. Also in the acceleration phase, which is the 80 days, at that time, it will really add a value. It's like you have another expert next to you who is thinking with you on the spot because usually we take time a little bit for participant to think about what is innovative idea, how can I come up with a new project, transformative project, and we have a criteria of what type of project. Should not be a simple project, it should be a multi-stakeholder project. It takes time. You need to give them a lot of innovative tools to come up with these different great projects. This one here, the AI can really support and really add a value to that component of the acceleration phase. And then we have a sustainability phase. What happened after the 100 days? And here it's like we talked about the insight and how will that one help you? How do you put mitigation, adaptation plan to make sure that later on you are ready for you have all the plan A, B, and C is there for any changes. So I think it will make the government accelerator process and challenge more efficient, better, I think stronger project will come out after that. And also to add to that, we just announced at the UAE government that we need to have 50% of the process in the government to be agentic AI. So now we're not talking only AI, now we're going into the second phase of agentic AI. So now putting that layer on top of the government accelerator, how do you make all this component agentic AI, and you add all these agents to support you and where the human comes within this loop. So a lot to think about, but a lot of excitement. I think we are all excited about it to really, how do you put all this together, all the puzzle together to come up with a great
Professor Alon, you can just...
Yeah, if I can add to that, we just last week we had our DBAs here in Paris, and we're working with the faculty, the professor who's teaching that course, which is a quantitative, but you'll see quantitative is a strange notion now. So he has a startup working on creating synthetic research tool that basically allows you to pre-test any policy that you have on your own constituency. So, instead of going out and doing qualitative, semi-structured interviews with 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, you can simulate talking to your entire population and asking them what they think about this policy idea, get their feedback, get their reaction. So when you said that this is going to allow us to go from 100 days to 50 days, I think it might even be 20 days, but we can get there with extreme confidence that we're on the right track because we talked to the simulated population and we asked all the questions and we got feedback and we get ideas that we never would have thought about it. So this area is really exciting. We tend to think still about AI as Claude, ChatGPT, and LLMs, but on top of that today is a whole new type of infrastructure that's being developed, which will allow us to have these kind of faux conversations, but with our constituencies and really understand what they would think about this idea, before you start to develop it. So when you do go and develop it and talk to real people, which we still have to keep in the loop, of course, but you're doing it with a different level of confidence and insight that otherwise you wouldn't get. And so I really agree with what you're saying. This is going to shorten the path to launching successful experiments, and that's really exciting.
Thank you, Professor. What you've already mentioned is really important, to know exactly how to use the AI, not to replace the people or replace our thinking. No, actually we use it as a tool, as an enabler to help us get the best result. Professor Saman, you would like to add anything? Or Sarah or Salma? Whoever would like.
Yeah, so I actually had this written also. I think you all stole my notes today. I had this written that has the potential to accelerate the acceleration. So definitely a lot, and you've mentioned already part of it, the reducing the friction in the journey, simplifying the access, going into anticipatory services, really becoming, next generation in terms of government. I would just like to poise it with, beyond just thinking of keeping the human in the loop, I think a very important aspect of this is understanding what is happening inside and how this is being built. So yes, definitely it has enormous potential for good. However, it's really key and crucial to understand how is this built, how is the data being used, what is the data that is being used, who has access to it, how is it secured, where is it stored, and I think this list can continue. Yes, exactly. And so it can never be a black box inside the government. And I think to complement in terms of learning and in terms of understanding, it's super important to know how all of this is built. Otherwise, yes, we can have an AI to augment the public leader, and we'll be taken abreast by the fact that we don't know what's going on inside. And that can create a lot of problematics for governments in the future.
AI is like a galaxy. We really need to know exactly what we need in order to get the best of the best as a result or an impact. Salma, you want? Okay, please.
Little point in the extension of what Sarah said, since we are in an academic institution and this is an academic offering for DBA and MBA, I think education is key. We all agree that AI is a great accelerator. It comes with a new set of possibilities for the public sector, but we need to accompany the public sector leaders to understand the technology, the limits, the governance, how it is used, how it is implemented, how it is amplified and generalized. And because at the end of the day, when we have a public service, algorithms are not accountable. The government is accountable for that. So for me, education is key, and it is a great opportunity because we're talking about a new certification through MBA and DBA, and it is a great opportunity for public leaders to consider enrolling those trainings to leverage the way they tackle innovation and how AI could accelerate public sector innovation.
Thank you so much, Salma. Yes, leaders really should focus on educate their employees and educate their people, and even governments, they need to educate their people because that will add a value and the expectation will reach to a level where both of them are satisfied between each other. Professor Saman would like to add something?
Yes, thank you. Well, very interestingly, everything was said, Sarah. We did steal your notes, but we tapped into your sleep. So that's how we did it. So about AI or specifically any other technology, I think we need to ask those questions first. Like why, how, what? Like for every institution, for any expert, for anyone who's anyone who knows about AI, like why do we need AI? First, it needs to be identified within the institution, within the governance system, or as the expert, or if you're a professor, if you're a student, you're doing research, whatever. Why do you need AI? That must be clarified. Then, how can it really help us achieve the objectives that we have, the values that we need to adhere to, and what we want to achieve, right? So how does it help us with competitiveness, as you mentioned? How does it help us, for example, with government acceleration in a more efficient way? And then eventually what? What are the steps concretely that is very much adapted to the context within which we are discussing It doesn't mean if I learn from you the best practices, it's not necessarily transferable to my context. So it's my obligation as a human being to understand that what is it that I need to do. Specifically for the government acceleration and the sense of governance, with the keyword of governance, I think the role of AI is much beyond that, and also it bears the word of responsibility. The responsibility of the governments not only, but the responsibility that needs to be embedded in the governance system of AI and agentic economies that are coming. So talking about foresight, one use cases of AI, as Alan also mentioned, the synthetic AI, the synthetic data part of it, but in fact, AI helps us also with foresight. It helps us with simulations, it helps us with understanding the anticipation part will be very much more efficient for sure, but it will also help us to make sure how to do it in a way that, as Alan mentioned, that there is a strategy behind it. What is the strategy that we want to really put together? So, I mean, I'm coming from technology by education and practice since 25 years ago, almost 30 now, but I'm not very much crazy myself about AI, because what's happening is that, of course, it's like many other technologies, there's a hype, but we need to make sure which part is real, which part is not real. We have to be very careful in the private sector, in the public sector, as individuals, as institutions. But also, we don't need to, we must be careful not to forget. It's not only AI. AI is just one of many other technologies, but there's a difference. So now, everything that is happening with tokenized governance systems, with the digital twins in governments, and with extended reality in governance. So all of those, some of them we covered also in the sessions. So those are also very important. But the difference that AI has is that AI is not really a technology. I mean, by philosophically speaking, yes, it is a technology. But the way that it interacts with the reality of the world, it's completely different. It's not the same tool. We say technology is a tool. Yes, we say in every session also we say technology is a tool. But in reality, AI is not a tool. It's a tool that can recreate itself. For me, it's not a tool. A tool that can change the way you think and react is not a tool anymore. This is a tool. It has some uses for me, and it doesn't necessarily change the way that I can think about the reality of life and world. So AI is very broad, but in the government and in the governance system, I think it merits a particular attention. And that's also what makes it very interesting for this, the programs that we launch, that not only AI and other technologies are a big part of the programs, but also there are specialized tracks for those who join the program also on learning more about deeper in the AI for government acceleration. So I think we need to address this. We are exploring this all together.
Yes.
I'm not sure how funny we will be like hundreds of years when they look back to us and say how we managed it, if there is anyone to look back. But it's an exploration that we take the risk, we integrate, we learn, but responsibly.
Indeed, and I love the three golden cycle, we call it, why and how and what. And that's, if we answer it specifically, that would really add a value to any tool that you will use, because you know exactly what you want to do and you don't want just to go around, because again, AI is like a galaxy or a big ocean that we don't know, but we need just to know our journey, and this way it will be really clear.
Dalal, can I throw a last log
Yes,
into the
yes,
fire,
please.
just some food for thought? But you know, one of the things that it's interesting, like every country, region in the world has very different opinions on AI. And right now, like in the United States, which seems to be like the temple of AI, but the people dislike, distrust, the mistrust is growing. And so I think we'll also have to navigate in these programs and together in, you know, public innovation, like the idea is to increase trust, not to reduce it. And so I think this is where, you know, Saman is saying AI is a very different animal. It has to be handled with care. Because we may be having the best intentions of efficiency, but if at the end of the day we confuse a prompt with government, or that our only interaction with government is through like a chat prompt, then obviously something went wrong along the way. And I think that's going to be interesting, is how do we keep that build on it, and that's why the context will be so different. So, we had participants from Canada, and the Canadians will see it very different than the Emiratis or the Moroccans and the Chinese, and everybody is seeing this very differently. Some see it as a vector of trust and development and accelerated, and others see it like this is, don't touch that. Anything you do with AI is going to be kind of suspicious. So that's, I think, going to be interesting for all of us to manage, is this tension between, yes, potential to do amazing things, but also potential to turn people against us that we're trying to help with those same tools. So I think that's going to be something we're all going to have to navigate carefully.
Build a trust from different angles and different views from different countries and different places. Thank you so much, Professor Saman, Professor Alon, Professor Saman, Dr. Radia, Sarah, and Selma. That was really a great conversation. We really thank you so much, and we thanks everyone who's here. Thank you so much for coming, and for the people online. And have a nice evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I guess we just put on the screen if this wants to show for us. No, for some reason. Okay, yes. All right. This was it. So we keep this on the screen. Since there were some questions online, I think we got most of them. But the majority of the questions were asking about the process. So what's next? How do we join? So there are 2 QR codes on the screen, and also we will share in the chat. And we communicate as well officially. So thank you, Dalal. Thank you, Salma. Thank you, Sarah and Alon. And I can't thank you enough, Dr. Radia. So, well, I don't know what to say, but you came all the way. You joined us here tonight for this launch. It's really a pleasure for us. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for those who joined us and online, and we look forward to seeing you soon in one of these programs, master's or doctorate. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.